Welcome back. We are here with Memphis Spence to talk about my hometown team, the Tigers, coming to Atlanta this weekend. A long time coming, a game that was supposed to be played like 5 years ago, something. Thanks for showing up, Spence. Appreciate it. Thanks for having us. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for bringing me on, guys. And I'm sorry if I missed the invite the first time. Around this time of year, things are all out of control. Just forgive me for that. But I'm glad to be here tonight.
Yeah, no worries at all. You came from a very high regard from 2 or 3 different American Conference podcasts. I want to say the ECU podcast and another one specifically that had given me your name originally and got some seconded and thirdses in the group chat about having you on. So the pressure's real.
Perfect.
All right, so let's get started. So, week 1's behind us. Memphis did what they were supposed to do against FCS Chattanooga in-state team there. I was actually in Memphis this weekend because we were playing Ole Miss, and I'm from Memphis, and I stayed there. And I was talking to my brother-in-law, who's a Memphis fan, and I was like, he's like, we should kill them. I'm like, they'll score 10-14, and you guys will score in the 40s. And I think I pretty much nailed that. I think it was 45-10, right?
Yeah.
So
that's exactly what it was. 45-10.
How did you feel about the team coming out of that game? Was it what you wanted to see?
Offensively, it was okay. Defensively, room for improvement.
That's what
I mean, and 10 points is 10 points, but there's definitely room for improvement on the defense. And I'm a defensive guy, so I'm always looking at that a little bit more critical. But yeah, I think it didn't leave a bad taste in the fan base mouth. I can tell you that. I mean, if you're going to win 45-10, you got to take those. Sure, we'd have liked 45-0 or 3. There was a fourth down that we gave up a conversion on. I didn't like that. I didn't like to see that early for the FCS team. That could pose problems in critical situations later on. Overall, solid start for Silverman. Silverfield. We'll definitely build on that win, starting with Georgia State.
So you think? I mean, highly likely, but
it's like Vegas has something to say,
Probably.
but you never know.
Right. So that naturally leads into the next question. So I'm taking it you're feeling pretty good about this game on Saturday, right?
Fairly confident. Yeah.
Yeah. We were. Well, see, who was it? Ryan and I were up in Memphis when we did the other side of this home and home series. Hell, 6 years ago now, something like that. It was forever ago. Yeah, and that game.
I kind of forgot it was a home and home.
So what is it? I think 2018 was the last one that 2018 was. I don't remember playing Georgia State before that. I think 2018 was the last game.
That was the only time, and I think we were supposed to have the return trip in 2020, and then COVID happened, and I don't think it was even COVID that was the problem. I think there was a hurricane or something, and Memphis was vying for the American with UCF or something, so they wanted to reschedule things. They bumped us so that you guys could get that UCF game rescheduled or something like that.
Sounds familiar.
And
that sounds right.
now we're 5 years down the road, finally getting this game played. And I'm excited about it. Like I mentioned to you, I'm originally from Memphis. I grew up in a family full of Memphis State fans. But it was a
yes.
It was a basketball school then, and I know now the basketball is still the pride and joy of this school and everything. But I didn't even know that. I didn't even know Memphis even had football back then because it was just nothing about, Memphis State Tigers, Dana Kirk, and then I can see the guy's face who came in after him and everything. But they've done a lot with this program ever since then.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I don't know too much about Georgia State, and I don't think we actually have any type of rivalry or anything like that. But I do know that you all have knocked off some significant teams in the recent past, and you posed a threat. I mean, you have a really good rushing game. Who's coaching over there? Georgia's old running back coach, right?
Running back coach Del McGee. We call him.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say we call him our AD McGee over here because he's not just our head football coach. I think he's running the entire athletic department, behind the scenes, pulling the strings at least. So
and And our big
Perfect.
P5 wins are both Tennessee programs. So that bodes well for us on this one.
That is
Ooh,
true.
Beat
That's
Tennessee in 2019 up there in Knoxville, and then beat Vandy here last year in 2024. So I'm really looking forward to making some "We Own This State" shirts with the outline of Tennessee.
no,
If we can knock you guys out, in the
we're gonna have to hold it down. No, not happening. We're gonna hold it down. I'll say this though. I don't know what you guys are expecting, but this is going to be a ground and pound game. I expect a lot of who has the better, basically offensive line type game to be played out. And the only thing that there may be a late fourth quarter, 2-minute drill that actually puts us up, but it's probably going to be closer than a lot of people think. I don't know what Vegas. I don't check Vegas. I don't know what Vegas is thinking, but I'm thinking this is closer to a 10-point game than it is a 30-point game. I know what it was last time. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah,
That
last
better
time
not
I think
happen.
I don't know if we scored last time. It may have been like a 53-0 game or something like that last time. It was bad, but it's 14 points is the spread right now in
14
this game, and 14 points. So you think that's probably
under.
you take the under on that? All right,
Say go under that. I think it's about. I say take like 10 because for a number of reasons, but we have a new QB and he's doing well. First time though that Silverfield's really working with a true dual threat quarterback. He hasn't worked with a true dual threat quarterback yet. So the playbook's changed from what I've seen so far. Of course, just looking at Chattanooga, but the playbook looks like it's changed a lot over the past since last year. And we're going to see exactly. I can see us in some really tough situations, especially if we get behind the sticks. Speaking of which, how's that Georgia State defense? You guys got a really good defense this year?
We don't give up many points, so you don't have to worry about that.
So I kind of think that Ole Miss game. I think Coach McGee, and I don't like this, but I think he treated it like a practice, and he swapped out some folks in there, and but I think our defense shined a little bit a couple times, and I think the line play was good on both sides of the ball, and I think our secondary played pretty well. There was like one really terribly blown coverage, but the Ole Miss offense, I think they're just stupid good. I mean, I think Simmons gonna be up for the Heisman, so he might not get it, but he'll be in the talks for it. So.
And to clarify a little bit about what Ryan's saying on that, treating the game like a scrimmage, we pulled in some of our backups very early on in that game. Once, as soon as it looked like it was going to get lopsided, is when we started getting a lot of reps for some of the second and third string guys. So I think that's why Ryan says treating it more like a scrimmage. And we'll talk about this, or I guess by the time this airs, we will have talked about this on our regular episode. But I don't know if that was for just getting reps for the guys, or if that was trying to protect your starters so they're not injured when Memphis comes to town next week and everything. I just don't know. But I think that's why he said that. But as far as defense goes, we forced 2 interceptions, I think, on the second and maybe fourth drive of maybe a second and third drive. I think it was second and third drive of Ole Miss. We got interceptions early, and even late in the game when we did have our backups in and they were playing. I mean, it's Lane Kiffin when he had the pedal to the metal. We still forced some punts here and there. So the score was really, really bad for us, but there were signs of life in that team, and I think that when we play a team closer to our level of competition, we'll hopefully see a lot better performance on the field. Tim, you want to add anything to it, or have another question?
Who do you play next after Memphis? Is that who's
Great
that
Murray State?
Okay,
The Racers.
y'all got them.
Yeah.
We better.
Looking. Go ahead. Sorry.
I said they were great.
Well, you said playing a team closer to Georgia State, so I just wanted to make sure that wasn't Memphis at all.
No, I mean saying
in
comparison to Ole Miss, but I do. I have said that I think that the schedule is set by somebody else years and years in advance. Actually, this Murray State game was another COVID cancellation.
That was
that we got reset. Really? But I would have, with having opening up at Ole Miss, I sure would have liked to have had Murray State prior to having Memphis a chance to kind of
Tune
get,
up.
tune up, get some the guys, a little bit more encouraged, feel some confidence in there and everything. So, having a game like Ole Miss and what happened there, and then having, a very competitive Memphis team coming in right after that, then you're starting to worry about getting a demoralized locker room. So, that will be tough. But
Yeah, I gotta agree. I mean, it doesn't give McGee much time to kind of make adjustments, right? So if you look at the game we had with Ole Miss, pulling all of our starters, playing younger guys, getting them reps, getting them time to come in. Well, you didn't really give the starters enough time to get any kind of like rhythm going. Having Murray State before Memphis would have given him time to maybe make some more tweaks, see if some of the changes he's making are positive or negative, and then coming into Memphis, we'd probably be in a different state. With how things turn out at Ole Miss, which not expected, but also expected based on what he did. It doesn't give coach a whole lot of time to kind of make those adjustments and see if there's results there. So the results will be this game potentially, and who knows? Maybe we'll have more adjustments coming in the Murray State game.
Hey man, Georgia State's good for upsets, and I'm sure that a lot of people have this one circled just because Memphis and Atlanta, just in general, those two cities have a little rivalry with each other. But I'll say this: I think that if nothing else, you can take away that I believe Georgia State, when I was looking at the box score, won the time of possession. Did you guys win the turnover battle also in that game?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yep.
And normally when you see a team win both of those, that's a good sign. Now, the score obviously didn't reflect that, but
Right.
generally speaking, though, early on, if you're not turning over the ball to an SEC team that much and you're able to be on the field more often than not, win the time of possession, that's usually a good sign, for things to come. This is a game, though, it's going to be a grueling game. It's probably going to be over quicker because I expect both of these teams to kind of keep the ball on the ground and try and protect it. And again, I think it comes down to who has the better stable in the backfield as far as running backs, more
You
so
you
than any
mentioned
air attack.
you mentioned you have a new quarterback, and I was thinking like we don't even really have a
Brendan,
quarterback at
yeah.
this point. We might be breaking in a new one this week, so that could be what ends up happening. But I think exactly what you're saying. We're just gonna be running the ball a whole bunch, both of us. So should be fun to
And if
watch.
and if that's the case, that's not horrible for us. I think we were playing
No,
four
that's
four
what
or
keeps
five.
you in the game, honestly.
Right.
Yeah, but I think against Ole Miss we ran 4 or 5 guys, and they combined for an average of over 6 yards a carry. And then we, as far as passing the ball, we weren't very good at that, but weren't even taking any kind of like long passes. I think almost everything was, just
5
little,
yards.
little small
Yeah.
attempts here and there. So yeah, I mean, if it does come down to a running game and the guys play as well, I say as well, they play to that average, that could be good. But to your point about the winning time of possession, it's really easy to win time of possession when your defense is letting the other team just drive down the field in 2 or 3 plays every single
Yeah.
time.
They're scoring it with like one first down per drive. I mean, it's nuts. So they really their offense was just incredible. It's
It was.
incredible.
And then our one
I
scoring
mean, Lane
drive was like
Kiffin is a mastermind.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Hey, mastermind is a word that you could use. There's also
Even
some more
mastermind.
some colorful language you could go with it as well, as far as describing him. But yeah, I was gonna say even our scoring drive was like a 29-yard run and then a 45-yard reception. So you're down the field in 2 plays. So yeah, I don't know what that means. Yeah, that kind of went right into what my question was going to be. Like, what kind of a game we expected to see here, and you already talked about the running stuff. What do you think about your new quarterback? That's always the big topic everyone wants to hear about is who's the quarterback and what's their story.
Stats look good, right?
From what
For
I've
an
seen
FCS team.
from what I've seen from Brendan, well, yeah, it did. And I mean, it's he has the experience to lead the offense. I don't have any questions about that. The really there's always a question though when you have a new quarterback because I mean he's not. This isn't in this world of transfer portal. You don't really get a whole lot of time with guys to develop them anymore. Either they're coming in developed or they're not. And, I mean, this is a transfer senior. He's not going to be around the program that long. He's getting his,
Mm-mm.
his FedEx money playing quarterback, and he's going to either have 10 wins and, keep that streak going, or he's not. I really do like the idea of Memphis having a dual threat quarterback. I think there were some critical games last year, the year before last, that we really needed some wheels by quarterback, and we just didn't. We've had traditional guys back there, really good traditional guys, but traditional guys back there now for a couple of stints. Brand's different. He's going to. He has a really quick first quick step. He takes a little bit of pressure off of the offensive line, which Silverfield's the offensive line guy. I mean, if we don't have a good offensive line, the team's horrible because that's what he does. And if he can't do that, then and we've gone back and forth on whether or not he's a permanent replacement or not. Guess we're gonna leave him there. Still doing just enough to make everybody happy. Even though now without UCF and SMU and Cincinnati and Houston. Not that Houston was ever an actual challenge. But without those teams, it kind of diminishes the American enough that we expect to win it every year now until until the ACC finally decides, hey, go ahead. Or if Georgia State joins, by the way, I think you guys, if we go to the ACC, I think you guys are on the list to take our place. Just saying.
Mhm.
But
Well, I wouldn't want
that's
Memphis is a team I would look forward to playing to join. That would be a reason, maybe even the reason at this point to join the AAC would be Memphis.
Yeah.
So rumor has it we were supposed to.
Tulane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rumor has it we passed it up. So
yeah, I think
we're
that
smart
Charlotte
like
Really?
that.
ended up taking a spot that I nothing's ever offered until they're going to commit. But at least the rumor that
Right.
we have running around Atlanta is that the conversations were there, and for whatever reason, our AD did not. All of this happened in the transition between two presidents. We had President Becker who had been there for a number of years, and he had already announced his retirement or his stepping down, and all of that realignment craziness was happening right when he was in the process of stepping down, and they were still in the search of the new guy. And I think that the when the teams you mentioned, Houston and Cincy and UCF, were leaving for the Big 12, and so American was trying to reload. The new president was relying on our athletic director for whatever reason, thought that being in a conference with our in-state rival that we commonly refer to as the trash down south, it was more important than being in a conference with the likes of Memphis and the UABs or Tulanes or Rice of the world and everything, which we feel like as we're an outlier in the Sun Belt. We're the only major metro area team in that conference. We'd fit far better in with what the old metro conference was like, and that's why Ryan Mock talks about being.
You remember the
in
Metro
the conference? Yeah.
Yes. See, I talked to these young kids about the Metro Conference, and they're like, what are you talking about? I don't know. You understand about
I don't know what the hell
No,
you guys
this-
are talking about.
Exactly, right. So
Metro
I'm just
Conference,
glad to, about the Metro. Yeah, we could definitely talk ball on that. But no,
So
yeah,
stay
I honestly
in the
thought,
American. Stay in the American when
Yeah.
we join.
Well,
You're not going to stay. You get the ACC invite.
well,
You're
the
out.
only reason why we sticked around so far is because ESPN wanted us to. I mean, they're kind of like pulling the strings behind the scenes, and they were the ones that, like, hey, no, stick around. We'll give them some of the money that just left. We'll give you some. And so the American, I don't know if you know this, but we kind of have those uneven shares now. Like Tulane and USF and Memphis are getting more than other people in the conference because we stuck around, and we're still making it a viable, product until the next, musical chairs happens. So, and a lot of people ask, but why we go to the Pac-12? They still don't have enough money to justify us going anywhere. Plus, like, their TV contracts they just signed with the CW, and I'm like, why would we Which
Yeah,
you
the
know,
Pac-12,
I don't.
Pac-12 is not the Pac-12. Like it's not
Right.
the one you remember. It's not the one you're
It's just
thinking
a
of.
name.
It's Texas State. Like what are we doing here? I mean, it's
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And they've got a
So
losing
we're
record
just
to
like,
Georgia State. What are you going to do? So, talking about all of that, man, when all that stuff was going down and they were trying,
yeah,
the Big 12 was trying to replace or trying to add 4 teams. So, they Houston, Cincy, and UCF, everyone kind of knew was going to happen. The question was whether or not Memphis or somebody else was going to get that spot. That somebody else ended up being BYU. Man, that must have felt like that must have been a gut punch to find out that your top tier teams in the conference that you feel like you're on par with got that move, and you guys were now adding teams like North Texas and Charlotte and all that. That's got to be rough, right?
it was definitely rough aftermath of it. Honestly understand BYU a little bit more than Houston. I didn't think the Big 12 needed another team from Texas in it because why do they? But I thought they would have gone and grabbed Memphis. And I mean, because Houston has if the moves were being made for football reasons, Houston's had maybe 1 or 2 seasons that can justify that. And, the fact that they weren't winning the conference regularly or even in the championship game regularly kind of made us sit back and we're like, well, wait a minute. UCF and Memphis have been playing for championships back and forth for this conference for a while. SMU started coming up, especially when Sonny Dykes was there. They really changed their program and made it something. So I get why the ACC decided to let them crawl in. Cincinnati's always been, a competitor, and they were in the college football playoff without the expanded playoff or whatnot. I get that. BYU actually get that as well. Houston was the one that I was scratching my head like, why do they want Houston? I mean, obviously, the city itself is huge. You want, but I mean, they already have most of Texas. They didn't really need Houston. I mean, they could have gotten, viewership from that area without the actual team. But yeah, I mean, if you're just comparing the two cities, which is what I had to come down like, all right, Houston's demographics are 5 times, 10 times what Memphis's is. So I get that part. I just don't get the football part of it. If they're making the decision because of the football program.
well, and the argument that we get because we're like, oh, we're in Atlanta, which is a top 5, I think, a media market, something like that. But like we don't attract those numbers, right? So like, are all the Houston residents, are they Houston football fans? Like, I don't think they are. My family just moved there. They have no idea anything about that program.
Exactly.
Aside, I think we've been doing this podcast for 6 years, and Ryan's family's moved. I think 5 of those 6 years, they've been all over the place.
Okay.
I get off topic really easily.
But Memphis like owns you're in your demo there. You own that city, right? I mean, like all of the Memphis residents are Memphis fans if they're college football fans, if they're not transplant. Yeah, so it makes more sense that Memphis and y'all have been really good for a long time. Like you guys are our second best team on our schedule by a long shot. And this is going to be a rough game for us. So
I mean, I would never put. I'm not opposed to talking of Georgia State because I see that you already brought up you've beaten Tennessee, beaten Vanderbilt, which we always talk to those two fan bases about. If you want to stay in the SEC, just don't lose to Georgia State. That's what we usually tell them. But the long and the short of it is we I guess we have to defend the state now because we can't have the trifecta in order. I mean that should give that will give you like property rights in the state or something like that. You could come plant a flag.
We'll have
one
actually. We'll take our water and we'll just say, you know what, you lost. You lost the water. The river is ours.
Yeah.
Well,
the river, it's gone. It's gone.
So Spence most definitely knows this, but for Tim and Ryan's sake, the state of Tennessee is split by the river, and you've got And for whatever reason, it's almost like 3 different states. East Tennessee is different from Central Tennessee, which is different from West Tennessee, which is where Memphis is. Yeah, so now that you made a great point, Ryan, we own East Tennessee because we beat Tennessee out in Knoxville. We own Vandy. We beat them last year, and we'll do it again in a couple of weeks. And now we just got to get the third part. It's the Triforce from Zelda. We got to get together and hold together the entire state. You got a good point there, Ryan. I like that. I like where you're going with that.
Yeah, we're going to try and prevent that from happening. But
so what are your expectations? Oh, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, expectations are this. I think, and the way Ryan likes to run his offense, he likes to do a lot of the new stuff in his playbook. He likes to actually get that out in the first quarter to see if it's going to work, because he's going to draw on that stuff in the fourth quarter. I won't say he's predictable about that, but he's usually testing after the first drive. The next 3 drives are usually all new. And he usually tests, to see if those drives are actually going to work, or segments of those drives, because if so, then he'll pull from that, and you'll see those in the fourth quarter also. I don't want to give your defense any, if you're passing this on to your defense, I don't want to give them any tips or pointers, but, and heck, Ryan might, if Ryan sees this podcast, he's going to change it up. But but normally he, he's fairly predictable, and he tries to test things early that he can bring back after halftime. If it worked once, he's somebody that goes back to the well, and he tries to, keep it simple, stupid a lot of times. And, if the left tackle is blowing people off, we're going to see, people running off left tackle. We'll see a lot of that. If somehow the A gap is not protected, if a linebacker is not filling that gap, either Brennan or one of those running backs are going to be hitting that gap in a trap easily and getting 5, 6, 7 yards up the middle. And if it works, you'll see it again. That's the thing about he's not really, I wouldn't say he's like one of those masterminds in terms of offensive play call. He just does what works over and over. And if you figure out what works and you can stop that, then he's not one of those guys that whips up some sort of weird, fancy play that can beat you that you've never seen before. That's just not his style. So if we get in trouble, then things will be close for a while, and he'll probably fall back on what he knows best. And that's really ground and pound, running between the tackles and trying to get that offensive line to move guys out of position. So that's what I expect to see, which is why I honestly believe that the game's going to be closer than a lot of people think. I think if it's 14, I think take the under. I think it's more of a 10-point game, 8 to 10-point game, just because.
I know, right?
Oh, well, maybe I get invited to the tailgate. I don't know.
Are you coming down? Are you going to be here?
No.
Are you going to be here for the game?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then I can definitely tell you you're invited to the tailgate.
Well,
I'm not coming, right? Of course.
I told you that I was probably going to take a pot shot at Memphis, but when I visited up there for the Memphis game, I had a very good time. As opposed to the other times I went there for work. We're doing. I was announcing to the tailgate group that we're doing in honor of Memphis. We're doing ribs, not like to make fun of anybody. We often we'll do like chicken against the
dry
trash
rub
down south because they're Eagles
ribs?
Or whatever. Yeah, we'll do dry rub. Yeah, yep.
Okay.
We'll do a Memphis style.
Hey man,
we're eating Memphis. Is that what we're doing?
I am a Memphis native, dude. So I mean, I may have moved here in '91, but I'm a Memphis native. I still go back, and so dry rub is the best.
Right.
And that's what I picked up 8 slabs today that will be cooking up at the tailgate. So I was going to actually invite you to the tailgate, hoping that you were going to be there. We have a good time at our thing, but the question I was actually going to ask about the expectation, and I loved your answer about the game, but your expectations for Memphis for this season. So we talked to an Ole Miss guy last week, and obviously Ole Miss's expectations was to be a college football playoff team. So, with Boise State, screwing the pooch being the favorite, do you think that Memphis is really, got that shot to get that G5 berth in the playoff this year? Is that what you're playing for?
When I look out at the landscape now, and of course, everything changes next year because the whole playoff picture is going to change next year, and whether or not they're going to, really cater to G5 schools anymore, I don't know. But last year and this year, there really shouldn't have been any reason why when I looked at last year, same as this year, it's like we're one of the 5 teams that are going to represent the G. There's 5 of us who are probably going to represent the G5, one of the 5. Um, and I believe that for this year also, there are a couple of hiccups. I mean, that Arkansas game, I'm not feeling too good about it based on some of the stuff I saw at Chattanooga. I'm like, oh, they're probably gonna if Chattanooga was able to pull. I mean, 10 points is 10 points, but still, it's how you score them rather than the actual points themselves. And there are a couple of times where our defense looked a little confused, never outmatched, just a little confused in what they were doing. And you'll probably see that a little bit in this game also, especially if McGee is able to change up some of his offensive plays or whatnot. Silverfield's he's gonna know exactly what McGee's good at, but if he pulls out a few plays that he's never seen before, those will probably work because we're known for be always never being ready for the unexpected. So and teams catch us off guard. All the UTSA has made a living not bringing the same playbook, not playing Memphis with the same playbook each and every time. Every time they change it up, and every time we're like, okay, what is this team? But so we get caught off guard by them often. But Silverfield's going to know exactly what Georgia State's good at, and we're going to be prepared for that. The unknown, though, are always the things that catch us off guard. Our guys are fast. That also means that a lot of times they take liberties they shouldn't, especially in that secondary. And if you want to take the top off, just get those safeties running to the line, and then go over the top, because that happens a little bit too often for my liking for Memphis. And hopefully this year is different.
So now, Memphis, you're making us feel a little bit worse than you did a couple minutes ago, because we are shortening the playbook, so that doesn't that's not a good agenda item. We had a very balanced offense at Ole Miss, right? You guys agree? Yeah, it's very balanced. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know. It's gonna be weird.
I was worried. You said you bring the safeties up and our quarterback throws something over the top. I don't know if we have a quarterback who can do it.
Well,
I
think
throw
the
over
question
the
is,
top of the.
do we have a quarterback
ourselves
that can do it and will see the field? That's the question.
Right.
I guess that is the question. But yeah, that would be. I expect our safeties or corners to get caught out of position, because I'm sure that if we watch the film or whatnot from Ole Miss and there weren't any deep passes, everybody's going to be cheating, because they're gonna rely on their speed, and they're fast. Everybody's fast, but they're going to rely on their speed and their makeup speed more so than I hope I'm wrong on this, but more so than being disciplined and actually playing the actual position like they should be. But I can see them cheating, trying to get an interception or trying to will fill a gap or something like that, and taking too many steps up. And that's probably how we're going to lose 7 points there. It almost always happens. But if you don't have a quarterback that can do that, then it might get ugly. If you don't have anybody that can, take the top of the defense.
We just need to prepare for 3, right? That's it. We just have 3 quarterbacks. One of them brand new, but not really. We don't want to name his name. Unless we do.
Well, we can't spell one of them, so it's fine, or pronounce it for that matter.
What? No, we can talk about TJ right now, right? I mean,
no. I was talking about
Veyer.
The French Canadian dude, the
Veyer.
I don't know how to spell that name, let alone pronounce it.
I think
I do say Christian a lot, just because I'm like, I can't spell it. I don't want to look it up. I'm just gonna say Christian.
Plus, like, autocorrect knows Christian. It doesn't know Vayar. Good. The news about Christian is that he will have, like last year, he had some really terrible games, like he had against Ole Miss. But then he'd come in and have a really good game every now and again too, and so that just sort of kept him alive. And I hate that as a fan. I want a consistent quarterback, but he does have he has it in him to have a very good game. It just just don't know which Christian's going to show up.
Yeah.
So what are your score
Yeah,
predictions, guys? What do you think's going to happen here?
Dude, that's a good
Yeah.
question. I mean, I would like to say that
Tim doesn't like it
close,
at all.
like
I can see.
well,
No.
let me answer it this way, and I think this is fair. Nobody should ever be a fan of moral victories, but after coming off a 63-7 loss against Ole Miss, I think if we keep it within the spread, that's not a win
Good.
by any stretch, but I think the team and the fans are feeling better about going into Murray State and playing that game. So yeah, I mean, if we could do like a 35-24 type game, even in a loss, we're not going to like it. But the conversation changes a little bit, like after a game like that. Then if you guys come in here and dog stomp us, 43-10, then we're going to be like, the sky's fallen, everything is in an upheaval. And I'm a big guy where I really think that locker room mentality has a lot to do with it. And starting off the season 0-2, even against a Power 4 team and a very good team in Memphis, it really makes it hard to get up for that Murray State game. And we need to perform at our best against Murray State because we're heading to Vandy the following week. And having beaten them here last year in a very close game, I want nothing more to go 2-0 against Vandy. And I mean, and they're a good looking team. They went on to beat Bama last year as well after losing to us. So I mean, that's an important game for me. So as long as we can get out of this game without the team's morale being completely dashed, I'm considering that a trending in the right direction. That's my answer.
Yeah. And no injuries also. Don't want any injuries.
Yeah.
Always. No injuries on either side. Never root for injuries on either side, even if I absolutely loathe your team or your state or anything about it. I never root for. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's not an injury though.
I want to beat a team at their best. I don't want there to be any I don't want there to be any asterisks out there. I want that win to be written in permanent marker for everyone to see for all eternity.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I would love to
what's our
keep you
job?
guys in the mid-30s. I'd like us to be in the mid-20s.
Yeah.
I mean, flip it if we could somehow get a couple of TDs and you're the one that hanging in the mid-20s and we're in the mid-30s. But after that first game, I don't know, man. I'm lost on Georgia State right now.
I was actually looking
Yeah,
at
I
like
am.
35 as a score for that game.
Okay.
11-point victory, get out of there safely or whatnot. Maybe the game isn't necessarily, it never gets close enough to be in doubt, but it's close enough to fire up, our squad and like, look, we're not winning this conference if we're playing games this close. And that's kind of what I want. I want there to be enough Georgia State success that it gives Silverfield a stick that he can really use to motivate these guys, because there's honestly really no, I mean, other than Tulane, USF is legit, but other than Tulane, there's really no reason why we shouldn't be playing for an American Conference championship this year. And then winner goes to the playoffs. That's what should have happened with us last year. But, and that's kind of the goal. The goal for this team, as long as we're in this conference, is we need to be playing for the championship every year. We don't care how good Navy is. We don't care how good Army is. We should never care about Temple again until they get their program together. It's Tulane, USF, and that's about it. Not saying that other teams can't beat us, but those are the only teams that should regularly be competing with us are those two teams in that conference.
I was just looking at the ESPN FPI, the analytics, and it kind of puts us in the same realm as most of the AAC teams outside of the ones you just mentioned. So we're just another one of those teams on your schedule. If there's a slip up, we could be on top winning the game, right? Just like in any of those other games where you've lost one of those like head scratchers, like how did that happen? We're supposed to beat these guys.
UTSA. The UTSA is since they've been in this conference, they've been kind of like a thorn in our side. And it's because they really really, I mean, they have us on their calendar. We're it. And I get it. In the West, the way that it was divided before, there weren't that many. Tulane came out of the West once, and then we all tied again another time. But then it was just Memphis, 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 Memphis coming out of the West and going to that championship game. And I don't know how many times we played and lost against UCF in a championship. But again, back to our earlier conversation, Houston wasn't really any problem the majority of the time. And SMU gave us some fits, but not as many as one would think. Not the fits that would put them in the ACC. That was another story. But the long and the short of it is we have a team that's regularly putting guys into the NFL now, and they're scouts there every year, and they're expecting to see some sort of hybrid running back that they can grab and at least get 4 years out of, if not 6 or 8, every year. And those guys usually do pretty good in a system behind that offensive line. It's not a great offensive line, but it's usually good enough for people to be able to showcase their skill, good enough to get on the radar, good enough to put up the stats. I think the year before, I want to say the year before that, we were top 50 in terms of our rushing offense in all of those years. So it's usually something that, we can come and at least offensively put up enough points and to win every game. Defense has been an issue. There have been some crater-like holes in those defenses these last few years, which is why I think that you all actually do put up a significant amount of points. I think 20, 21, 24-ish is what I'm expecting. And then I'm expecting us to have around somewhere in between the 30, 40 area, somewhere in those. So it could be as close, in my opinion, as like 30 to 24. But then it could, depending on turnovers and other coin flip type plays or whatnot, maybe 21-40 is probably the most you'll probably see out of this type of.
Gotcha. Well, guys, we've taken him for the better part of an hour so far.
Oh,
He might have got
wow.
another question before I start asking BS stuff.
Don't have to ask BS stuff.
American question. Obviously, this
was the BS stuff.
the Sun Belt is is the only FBS conference left that has divisions. Do you miss divisions in American? Do you like this top down, just jumble of teams? Even though you're in the top 3 or 4 always, so it's kind of like, well, we're in our own division. It's called the top 4.
I do like divisions because divisions in our conference really, really was an advantage for us, because then we could just focus on, okay, if we beat like North Texas and, Houston, which both of those teams usually weren't a problem, then all we have to do is look at, okay, is SMU any good this year?
Mm-hmm.
Is Tulane any good this year? Let's see if we can beat those guys. And, you win those 4 games. I don't even know who owed is Rice in the conference? I don't even know who's in our conference now.
Rice is in the conference, yes.
Either.
I don't,
you said
I
don't even know who that is. So,
I mean, if we have to play the carbohydrate, then we're usually going to win against Rice. It's, I know that they hate, us, and, we probably are. They probably circle us on the calendar, and we don't care. But as long as we beat the other squads, which we usually do. So to answer your question, Tim, yes, I do miss them personally. I think it gave us an advantage. Now it's possible for us to end up 3rd and miss the championship, which is what basically happened last year, 3rd or 4th. And all of a sudden you're like, hey, we're not playing for a championship here. I think the divisions were an actual advantage for us. Taking those away, now it's everybody. Navy might actually win the conference every now and then, taking those away, given the strength of schedule that they have with these other teams all the time.
Well, I'll give you a little, cheat sheet on how to figure out whether, a team's in your conference or now. If you've heard of them, they're probably in your conference. If you haven't heard of them and they sound like a Conference USA team, probably in your conference. If you haven't heard of them and they sound like an FCS team, then they're in the Conference USA. That's probably a good way to break it up,
Gotcha. Yeah.
I'll give you one.
I can't give.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'll just give
No,
you
I
one
can't
last
keep up
question
that.
before we let you out of here, and I'm going to take it back to barbecue. You know,
Sure.
Ryan mentioned when we went up there, we had a good time and everything. But when I was a kid, when I lived in Memphis, barbecue was, you know, hands down, it was a rendezvous or Corky's. Both of those have gotten very corporate-y and kind of gone downhill over the past 30 years. I feel like, where is the go for ribs specifically? Where's the go-to place? We went to Central, and I
Yes.
personally was not a fan of Central. I wasn't a fan.
Really? Really?
You know,
Well, now,
I
to be
walked.
fair, I haven't been, I guess it's been 5 years now. I guess since COVID, I haven't been back. But Central used to, well, here's the thing, and I've heard this. I haven't seen this yet, but I heard that they actually closed the location on Central for Central Barbecue. Now, if that happened,
Okay.
that's the hub. That's where we used to go, you know, when we were studying and everything else. You know, hey, you want some barbecue? Yeah, let's just go down to Central, which was a pretty, you couldn't, well, I guess you could walk there, but most of the time it was a short car drive rather than a walk that I remember. But I think they closed the actual location on Central, which kind of ticked me off. Like, how do you have Central Barbecue not on Central? And, you know, maybe they outgrew the place. Maybe it's getting a little bit too corporate-y. But Central Barbecue used to have some of the best ribs. Three Little Pigs still has some pretty good stuff there too. They have pretty good dry rub. Rendezvous, they'll be consistent, but they're not what they used to be, like in the 90s or anything like that. I don't know where the spot for ribs would be or the best spot for ribs would be now.
Okay.
That's a good question.
All right.
I'd be willing to go with you, David, and find out.
Hey, man, next time I'm in town, which probably won't be too far from now, I will definitely hit you up. Well, thank you, Spence, for joining. I appreciate it. Good information, and good luck to both teams next week as far as injuries go, and hopefully the score goes our side. You want to say goodbye to Spence, guys?
I appreciate having
Bye,
on.
Spence. No, I
Thank
appreciate
you,
you coming
Ryan.
on, man. No, I appreciate you coming on, man.
All right, Memphis coming to Central Park this Saturday, 7:00. The most important thing that we can talk about on this episode is
Tailgate.
I need to have like buttons that can press, like a wow 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 wow. Yes, tailgate. Memphis barbecue, dry rub ribs. Ryan, you're in. I'm in. Tim's flying back from California, so he's doing something. But we're gonna
David,
have
I have a question. My tacky
Yes,
ribs,
sir.
that doesn't count, right? I don't tack them. I don't put any barbecue sauce at all, right? Is that what you're saying? All dry rub.
No barbecue sauce for sure. No barbecue sauce for sure. No barbecue sauce.
The only barbecue sauce I typically add to my ribs, I add it during the smoke so that it gets tacky and becomes sort of one with the ribs. And I don't add more than that, but I don't know if that counts. I don't want to do it if it's not in the if it's.
Yeah, I would. If you do that, it'd be very, very light and definitely basted on. So you don't have any.
I just won't do it. I just won't do it.
Yeah. So we're gonna do ribs. Ryan and I are doing ribs. We already talked in the tailgate group. We have a lot of sides coming on. Everybody come out to our tailgate. Always more than welcoming. We want you to be there. And for our Patreon paying members of our Patreon group, we got you alcohol covered as well, thanks to Max Wine and Beer, who are, for the third year in a row, providing alcohol beverages, including Golden Panther, for free. So,
and
all
usually
right.
he's got some liquor drinks mixed in there, some of the mixed not canned cocktails, not the little ones, but like, you know, the like Cokes with
Big ones, yeah. I can tell you.
There's a
I
beer
can tell you
water. There's a beer water mixed in too, right?
some seltzers. He always hooks up the what's the whiskey shit?
He actually didn't mention.
The
He did not
Fireball
mention
shot?
that.
Fireball.
Here's
He
what I
always
got
throws
from
some
Matt.
sleeves of Fireball in there.
Here's what I got: Panther beer, Mick Ultra, Chardonnay, Red Blend, Fireball,
Ooh.
various canned cocktails, coolers, and ice. And that is free to all of our 21-plus-year-old Patreon paying members. Patreon.com/State of Atlanta. There are we had some members that upgraded to our $5 plan The $3 plan is
Nice.
limited to 20. So there are 2 spots left. We have one guy join today. Patreon.com/DaveAtlanta. Get in there. Come hang out with us. So, all right. That's tailgate.
Weather looks good, right? 81 degrees. Nice. I mean,
Hell yeah.
for August, September weather, like last week was amazing at Ole Miss. This week should be great at Center Park.
We are in false fall right now. This is technically false fall time period in Atlanta where we get that little false fall.
So anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
By Saturday, it's going to be 98 degrees. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's possible.
You're not kidding. It might happen.
You never know. I will say, though, at Ole Miss, it originally said the temperature was going to be 80, 81, I think. And then a day later, it said 83. And then a day later, it said 85. And then a day later, it said 87. Then it said 90. It actually ended up being 88 or 89. But still, the temperature did increase by almost 10 degrees from where it started a week before the game.
It was
comfy.
comfy.
It was comfy, though. It was nice.
It's comfy.
Yeah.
After our game, the only game that was on was like Arizona State, somebody else, I forget what, because we had a pretty late game. But while I was watching after our game, the announcers said, just so everybody knows, the temperature has just gone below 100 degrees in Tempe, Arizona. I'm like, holy crap! I'm so glad that I live in Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have a late game, 7:00 start again.
Under the lights.
That'd be great.
That means we'll be nice and toasty.
We'll be out there early. I've got family. I got my Memphis family coming in town for the game. Dusty, who you met, Tim, at the Ole Miss game, he's coming. He's bringing my sister and the whole fam. So it'll be good.
Are they going to root for us?
No, they're my nephew.
Yeah.
My nephew, who Ryan you met, who was cheering for us at that game in Memphis 7-8 years ago, whatever that was. He bought himself a Memphis Tigers new shirt just to wear for this game.
Damn.
We'll have him converted by the end of the season. He's starting to look at colleges now, so we'll get him come down here to Atlanta, Georgia State. He can stay with his drunkle. But anyhow, the game, the game itself. We open up as 14-point under. Do you think that we've scored like 2 more times against Ole Miss that the game would be closer than 14 points as far as Vegas thinks?
No,
or is this pretty much where it was going to be anyways? Yeah.
I think Vegas watched what we did and said, okay, we can throw 90% of this away.
Yeah.
Right? Just focus on that first quarter, give or take, maybe a little bit in the second, and then that's a wrap and the game's over. I think the line's right. I mean, I think it's down to 13.5 now, so it's come down a smidge.
Money's coming in a little bit. Yeah.
Money's coming in.
I mean, as
we
talked to Spencer, he said that he thinks
lower.
He thinks it's close. He's taking the under on the spread.
Spencer did a good job making us, at least me, feel better.
And I didn't feel like he was a homer, but I didn't feel like he was just making excuses or he was just trying to be or I didn't feel like he was just trying to make us feel better or anything like that. It seemed like he really has a grasp on what both programs are doing right now. And he knew about our running game. He knew about he's paying attention.
Yeah, he knew about he did his quick chat GPT. Tell me everything I need to know to talk about Georgia State sports for a podcast for 30 minutes that went on for an hour. Yeah. But I think the big topic about this Memphis game is really the newest player to join the team, TJ Finley, who Panther fans should know very well from a few years back against the Auburn game. But we got a new quarterback that joined the roster. After
it's only his 5th or 6th program that he's been at.
3, 4,
6.
TJ Finley.
That's
LSU.
impressive.
LSU as a freshman. Auburn for 2 years. He came in the Auburn Georgia State game and was the one who threw the winning touchdown to beat Georgia State. Then he got the starting job in 2022. Played for 3 games and lost the starting job. Went to Texas State. Started for all 13 games at Texas State, gave them their very first bowl win ever. Then went to Western Kentucky. I think he got injured after 3 games there.
Yeah.
Went to Tulane. Had some
second
legal issues, which seems to have had charges dropped. And now he's at Georgia State. Got cleared to play, cleared to join the roster this week. You guys think this guy's gonna play? He's a career 6,100 passing yards, 37 touchdowns, 20 interceptions. It's not a good ratio.
Mm-mm.
2 years of eligibility left. I did not realize he had 2
Two.
years left. I didn't realize that.
No, if he goes off here, he's gonna get his paycheck somewhere. It's fine. I'll take it.
I say 2. I did realize I probably got that information from ChatGPT, so the 2 years may be wrong. But yeah,
Wow. I was like,
he's
geez,
got to be
how
like,
long? He's gonna be 30 years old when he gets out.
If he doesn't become our starter, I am very worried. I think, Vair, 4 of 11, 52 yards. That's just shit. That's garbage. That's like there's no game should
Underwhelming.
happen.
Underwhelming.
well, I don't want to get.
There shouldn't be games like that in the FBS, right? No quarterback should have a stat line like that in any game in the FBS, like that. Period.
I don't want to start this game against Memphis. I don't want to start this game with Vair, get down 2 touchdowns,
and
then we
that.
bring in Finley because he's with the saving grace. Now he's playing from 14 points back. I think you need to pick who you want to start the game is who you want to play the entire 4 quarters. And I'm not saying it's Vair.
So Vair will be our starter. Got it.
Tim, what do you think? What should happen? Should we start Vair? Should we, start him and see how things go and move to Cam or TJ or what?
Well,
how do you want to see Saturday play? Obviously, you want to see a win, but how do you want to see a quarterback play out?
I mean, okay. McGee recruited Finley for some reason. I mean, just to have another quarterback.
I think we know the reason.
I don't think that's it. I think McGee's like, I'm not so sure my quarterback room is going to make it. I need to find someone else when this doesn't go the way I want it to, which, well, I will say he pulled the plug on Vair too fast, but I think Vair starts this game. I think he gets a series. If it's hot garbage, I think you see a change.
You think
that's how I think it'll play out?
He gets one series?
One series. I mean, if he gets one series, we don't score, but we look decent, he'll get a second. If he throws a pick somewhere in there, I think he makes the change.
Do you think he should get the start, or should they just go ahead and just start with Finley?
I think he gets the start.
Okay. Well, Ryan, what do you think?
Part of me wants Finley, just like, hey, look, we did this last year. Sometimes it was really good. A lot of times it really was not very good. A few times, we trotted him out. He's just mediocre. I don't know if he's the guy to lead us,
Well, we know he's good against Sunbelt West competition by playing at Texas State. So,
can we just tell him that Memphis is West?
Do you think that Christian, Vair, or TJ Finley or somebody else should get the start on Saturday?
I think the coaches, like you said, Coach McGee knows the team better than anybody else, so he'll do whatever he does, and I will defer because that's he knows the team. But I do also think that he didn't pull Vair early, right? Vair had a whole season beforehand, and he was inconsistent throughout the entire season. He did have a couple of very good games, but he obviously got pulled in a number of games. Two, I think. That we switch quarterbacks. And I do really like Del McGee is like, you don't just have the job, right? If you go into the game and you throw 4 of 11, I'm going to pull you. Like you can't throw 36% completion and be a quarterback for Georgia State. Like that just can't happen. And so I do appreciate that. I think McGee is going to balance it better than I could figure out on this podcast. But I do think that Vair is not our guy. I think TJ's got to be our guy because I think the coaches don't have faith in anyone else. That's why you bring in TJ so late in the process.
So what do you think, though, Ryan? Like, I know you're letting McGee make his choices, but what do you think is going to happen? Who starts?
What I hope happens.
Okay.
Is what I'll say because I really could not say what I think happens because I really just don't know where everybody is on their progression or anything like that. I don't know how people pick on any of that shit. What I hope happens is that TJ is far enough along on his progression that he starts. I think that will be a very good sign for the program if TJ is the starter on it against Memphis and that the coaches are showing faith in him for the very reasons you said. Like, we can't have, Veyer show up and then get 2 scores down, um and then, TJ has to come make it up. Like, I think
Expect him to play from 14 points back.
you give the keys to the guy who you want to have the keys, right? And I think Veyer does not deserve them anymore, right? He's proven it.
I like TJ just because he goes by the name I went for 18 years, TJ. So
Nice. Yeah.
like I'm all in. I don't know. I feel like Veyer gets the start still.
I think Veyer gets a start. I
Yeah.
agree. I think that's what coach is going to do.
The leash is going to be tight though.
Yeah,
I just hope not.
I
hope not.
honestly,
You let Veyer play the whole game? I mean, if he does okay or doesn't throw picks and it looks like the Veyer that's on the upper half of completion percentage, I think he leaves him in.
it depends on whether or not coach is going to treat this like a practice or preseason game again.
This can't be
No,
practice,
this
right?
is real game.
You can't-
Real
you
game.
can't-
AAC. This is the AAC. We belong in the AAC, right?
You
So
can't- you
like this
can't-
isn't a practice.
You can't treat a sixth of our games like preseason. Yeah,
They're upper
I
half.
don't know.
They're upper half American, right? And we're supposedly lower half Sunbelt.
I mean,
they're perhaps G5, but
Yeah.
yeah.
well, yeah. Now with the 3 teams that left from the American, they're supposed to be the best team in the
team.
Americans.
They haven't been.
All right.
Have you looked at their
I
previous
don't know.
years? Like where they ended up? I mean, they've been in the top 4 last year, but they didn't go to the championship game. If you go back year after year after year, it's not so pretty.
What are our final thoughts on this Memphis game? I think one of you guys said that you think we went. We pulled the win. I think it was Ryan this week. We pulled out the
Ryan's
win.
got the W. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we all had a W for this one. You guys changed
Did
your
we?
mind?
I don't know. I don't remember
We
when I
did. We all 3 of us had a W for this one.
Ryan, I was running off like a FK modem. All right. So I have no clue what I selected at that time.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
So I think we get the W if we have a couple takeaways and we get some scoop and score, something like that. Like I think that's our path to winning against Memphis. I don't think we're just gonna win going back and forth. Like we're gonna need some takeaways to win the game.
We're going to have to get the lead to begin the game. I don't see this being a situation where we can come from behind and win the game, but
Get in there and win.
yeah, no, I mean, there is no reason why we can't win this game. It would completely destroy Memphis season if we do that, and I'm okay with that. I've no love lost
it's good.
there.
That would be fun.
Yeah, completely ruins their season and definitely gives us a lot of credit. It gets the guys feeling really, really, really well going into Murray State. We do a dominant performance there, and it gives us the right attitude towards Vandy. I think we have all the ability to win. I think if it's going to happen, it's going to be a close one. It's going to be a close. I know I said talking to Spencer that we're looking at it could be easily 35 them, 24 us, or something like that. But I think it's just as easy as you said, Tim, that those scores to be completely flip flopped. I mean,
Yeah.
Memphis could very easily be coming in here thinking very highly of themselves. None of those guys were on the team when they beat the snot out of us 7-8 years ago, whatever it was. But yeah, they think they're better than us.
I mean,
They probably are,
they are.
honestly, but that doesn't mean they'll win, right?
All right. I mean, they have losses on their schedule in the American to teams that were in the lower half. I mean, we just look like another American team they're playing that they're favored against. And prior years, they have somehow lost.
You know what's funny? I was looking at their schedule while we were talking to Spencer. Do you know where they play the following week? The very next week, they're at Troy, which is like what, 2.5, 3 hours from us. They're
At Troy.
They're at Georgia State this week, and they are at Troy the following week. And I know this is nothing like the trash down south crap where they were at Fresno and now they're going to play Southern Cal, so they're staying out on the West Coast. But man, 2 schools so close to each other, and they're going home and coming right back out here again. That's kind of funny.
Also, just as far as like the football landscape goes, like we are considered lesser, and so is Troy State. So, man, what you're gonna hear? I said State. You're gonna hear something from me you won't hear very often. But man, that's some shitty scheduling.
Home
I want to
away,
hear more
away,
about your
home.
scheduling thoughts, Ryan.
That is a pretty good pull for them. They got Arkansas at home though. They're not away.
No, yeah. Well, I guess Arkansas is a little bit closer or a little bit further away than what Arkansas State is, but yeah, not that.
Probably
So
a home and home.
as I was talking to Spencer about it, growing up when it was Memphis State, Memphis and Arkansas in basketball were fierce rivals. I don't know if they still are, but they played all the time because like half my family was Arkansas fans, the other half was Memphis State fans, and so they really got into it. They never agreed on who was supposed to win that game.
Yeah. But so Memphis is one of the best in the G5 though. So it will
Easily.
be a good match. I mean, like the thing is, it'll be a really good measuring stick for our program to see like how we measure up to them. If we lose, it'll be kind of like the same with the Ole Miss. It'll be kind of how did you lose? Like what did you see in the game that made you feel good about the rest of them? Because like Memphis is a level above a lot of our other. I said it in the interview that these are our two best opponents, and I know we got Vandy coming up, but these are our two best opponents is Ole Miss and Memphis, in my opinion. I think Memphis would beat Vandy, no problem. So this is a good measuring stick though, like for another G5 program, like one of the best G5 programs there is.